we started to get this idea about traveling with the kite and exploring with Marco. I met Marco at Rancho do Peixe 15 years ago, and because of my work, I was flying to Rio like every month, so I got to visit him there as well. And little by little, we built these connections of brothers and riders. We spoke about material, we spoke about the sports, the evolution, and 12 or 13 years ago, I came, like every winter, I came back here to Rancho do Peixe, and Marco said, oh, why not going from Fortaleza instead of going to Rancho do Peixe by car? Let's go by kite. Let's do it together, and let's do it with Wanderson, with as well an old friend who is in charge of water sports centers of Rancho do Peixe now. So just the three of us. We started from Fortaleza, just after Fortaleza. And in 3 days, like more or less 100 kilometers a day, we arrived at Rancho do Peixe. The idea was to travel all the coast 100% in the water. Before us, some downwinds existed. We didn't invent the downwinds, but when the conditions were complicated, where the beach was not accessible by car, or when you were traveling through mangrove or big river, normally the other downwind, they stop, they go in the car, in Land Rover, and they go back in the water where there is a safe beach. Us, we do 100% in the water. So the idea was that we needed to be safe, independent, which means that the guide needs to have the knowledge and the material to be able to face everything that can happen. And in the water, a lot of things can happen. Material can break, you can touch rocks even if you know exactly where they are, even if you know all the coast by heart. You're facing things every day. And we did that, just the three of us. Then we did 300 more kilometers until Athens. And it was so crazy and such a beautiful thing to do that we thought, okay, we need to be able to share it with people. We need to offer it to people. And the next years following that first trip was all about organizing it. Organizing it on the inland, which is how to connect the pousadas, find the right ones, connect them together with e-group, organizing the Land Rovers, everything from pousada to another while the riders were in the water. That was the first point. But the main point was how to organize the trip with clients. The clients could be up to 12 in the water at the same time, safely. And my knowledge about safety in aviation, being a professional, with a lot of training, a lot of checklists, a lot of safety in everything I do, I helped a lot Marco to develop that processes. And altogether, we made this checklist of, okay, we need to do that, be able to say, if something is not right, we don't go. The only priority is the safety of the customers. And we did a lot of Surfin Sem Fim with hundreds of customers with different levels from all over the world, always safely. And that's something we are very proud of. We focused on, and we want to guarantee to the customers, is safety. Like exactly the same as in airline, in aviation. So we picked up a lot of ideas from the aviation to bring it to Surfin Sem Fim. The first one we could talk about is briefing. Before taking off, I don't go to my plane and take off. I have to think about and study every detail about the weather, about the wind, about the conditions, about the plane. It's the same every morning. Before we go in the water, we study the map very precisely, where we want to go, where the dangers are, how the tide is going to be, how the wind is. It's windy every day, but sometimes stronger, sometimes lighter, especially when we travel west, the wind is going down, there is this briefing part, which is very important. But above that, all the structure in the water was designed like in a plane. I decided with Marco that to be safe, we need to pilot the group in the water like we do in a plane. So what you need is a captain. Captain is the one who is going to lead, who has the experience to say, we go there, we stop there, we don't go. He gives the rhythm, he gives the pace, and is in front of the group. We need, like the first officer, the captain cannot work alone. It's a crew, like in a plane. It's the role of the first officer will be very important as well. He's going to be at the end of the group, having an eye on every people in the team, every customer in the water, and being able to help recover and speak at any moment with the captain. If there is a single problem in the water, he's going to say, okay, stop the rhythm, so that the group is not going to go too far with the first officer and the client alone. So it works like a pair all together. And one beautiful thing that we added is to have as a guest a professional rider, like the best ones in the world, like Me Too Montero, in the middle of the group with the total liberty to go from a client to another, to help him catching this wave, to helping improve his position, to give some coaching during the traveling of Surfin Sem Fim. So it was this idea of the crew with the head of the crew, the captain. We had to find a name for these trips, and I spent hours when you do 100 or 150 kilometers in the water. Sometimes you spend from the first minute the wind is blowing at 10:30 until sunset, with hardly any stop. I assure you, we do as well a lot of smaller or intermediate Surfin Sem Fim. We have all the distances according to the level of the riders. So, but at first we did huge distances to connect cruzadas. So I spent hours in the water, and I always I remember this music in my head, which is, I think it's Tom Jobim singing Tristeza não tem fim, felicidade sim. And it was a night, we arrived at this posada, and with Marco we debriefed, and we said, we had these endless waves. It was like this downwinding makes a wave during forever. And this idea of forever wave with Sem Fim came, okay, I said, let's call it Surfin Sem Fim, and it worked.